Hello friends, if you're new to my channel, thank you for stopping by. I hope you enjoy it. Why don't you go down and click the subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss any episodes. For my fans and subscribers, welcome back. Today's topic, Yahweh versus Dagon. Nothing else I need to say. Well, let's get on with the video. The Old Testament also mentions the Canaanite god Dagon. Sometimes he is described as Baal's father in the Ugaritic texts, and it appears that he had the qualities of a weather and fertility god like Baal. In the Old Testament, he only occurs in two place names, Beth Dagon, one of which was in Judah, the other in Asher. Since Beth Dagon literally means house of Dagon, these names indicate that he had temples there. Other than these place names, Dagon is only mentioned as a god of the Philistines. Although the Philistines were non-Semitic, they quickly adopted Canaanite gods. We are given the impression, however, that Dagon is the chief god of the Philistines, and a sacrifice is made to him in the Samson story, Judges 16:23, which also implies that there is a temple at Gaza. We also read of a temple to him at Ashdod. The Philistine city of Ashdod also had a temple to Dagon. In 1 Samuel 5:1-7, we read that the statue of Dagon fell down before the Ark of the Covenant after the Philistines took the Ark to his temple, a story meant to convey the superiority of Yahweh to Dagon. The hypothesis of the meaning of Dagon with the most support is that it means grain. Philo of Byblos, circa 100 CE, refers to Dagon, who is grain. Also, Palmyra has depictions of Dagon with stalks of grain. The plain where Dagon was especially revered was a corn-rich area. This suggests that Dagon had the nature of a fertility god. Most archaeologists conclude that the meaning grain actually derived from the god, rather than the other way around, much like the word cereal is a derivative of the Roman god Ceres. The earliest sources that we have to date do not connect Dagon to grain, but they do suggest that Dagon was a storm god, and at that place and time, storm gods were implicitly fertility gods. We also have Mesopotamian sources that equate Dagon with Enlil, who was a high god. Enlil was not only a high god, he was the storm god. At Mari, Dagon had a wife named Salas, a name that closely resembles Salah, who was wife of the Assyrian storm god Hadad. However plausible, we cannot say with certainty that this is the case unless we find more manuscripts. The first mention of Dagon that we can firmly date is in an inscription of Sargon of Akkad, which dates to circa 2350 BCE and recounts Sargon's worship of Dagon for his victories over Mari, Larmudi, and Ebla. Texts confirm that the upper Euphrates and Syria were Dagon's territories. However, even though he was popular in the upper Euphrates and in Syria, his cult declined in Ugarit. Baal is often called the son of Dagon at Ugarit, but Dagon himself has no part in the Ugaritic mythological texts. More than likely, Dagon did not appear in Ugarit, because Baal displaced him as the storm and fertility god, while El usurped his position as supreme deity. As if this wasn't complicated enough, the Ugaritic texts refer to Baal as being the son of both Dagon and El. I've spoken about syncretism before on this channel. It's basically when a people appropriate a god or more than one god, combine their characteristics, and come up with a god, or assign the characteristics to an already existing god in their own pantheon. It is thus reasonable to ask if this is syncretism in action. Probably not. And I will get into the reasons in the next few slides. Although we may never truly know about the dual paternity of Baal, it seems plausible that the Canaanites regarded Baal as the literal son of Dagon, but that he was also the son of El, in the sense that El was head of the Canaanite pantheon, much like Jesus is regarded as the son of David. Trying to get to the origins of Yahweh is a bit more frustrating. No one seems to know where he came from, except to say that he came from the south. This seems to indicate that he was an indigenous god to the Edomites, Midianites, and Canaanites. This would also tie in to the hypothesis that he was an ancient metallurgy god, because these southern tribes worked with metal. Nissim Amzalag proposed that the Edomite god Kaus is the Israelite god Yahweh. Kaus was a hunter-warrior deity who used a bow. Biblical texts also depict Yahweh as using a bow, but even more intriguing is that Habakkuk 3:9 indicates that Yahweh comes from Edom to deliver his people, and it shakes the pavilions of Midian. So if Yahweh wasn't an indigenous Canaanite god, how did he get imported? Probably the way every other god got imported, through the caravan trade routes. Now, this is complicated, so it's going to have to be a video all its own. But apparently, the Israelites also had some Canaanites in their midst, and the Canaanites were related to the Kenites, and the Kenites were one of the tribes that had Yahweh as a god. So like I said, it's very complicated. Remember, the Exodus story never happened. The Jews are not the offspring of just one dude from Ur of the Chaldees. Ditch all of that. And, I'm going to give you a little teaser. So I've got a few questions for Christians, and I will probably make an entire video on this, but since I have a few minutes to fill up on this video, I might as well use this time to ask some questions. So let's pretend that the Exodus really happened, which it didn't, but let's pretend it did. How did Caleb, who is identified in the Bible as a Kenizzite, end up wandering the wilderness for 40 years with the Israelites? Kenaz, the father of The Canaanites is identified in the Bible as a descendant of Edom. How does a descendant of Esau end up with the Israelites roaming the wilderness for 40 years? Explain that one to me. Now, I usually consider verses in context because context usually matters, but we're talking about genealogies here, so the context really doesn't matter because it's just a bunch of dudes. So, Christians will probably think I'm making this up. So let's go to the Bible. And no, I do not recognize the Bible as an authority on anything the Christians do. First, Caleb is identified as being a Canaanite. Numbers 32:12. The Canaanites supposedly came from Kenaz. So now we have Kenaz. And Kenaz is mentioned in Genesis 36:15 and is identified as being the son of Edom, also known as Esau. I hope that's a teaser for an upcoming episode. Thank you for watching. If you like this kind of content, hit the like button, press the subscribe button, and if you want to know when I come out with new content, hit the bell next to the subscribe button. My Twitter, Discord, email, and PayPal links are in the description, along with the source that I used for this episode. I must confess that I'm not on Discord all that much. If you wish to reach me, your best bet is either Twitter or email. Please leave comments in the comment section. Not only do I love hearing from you, but it triggers YouTube algorithm. Keep learning and searching for truth. Here are a few videos from my library. If you have not watched them yet, go ahead and watch them and tell me what you think. Until next time, friends, stay safe and goodbye.